Good morning, everyone. I'm Carlos Bautista, and my topic is skateboarding. For a brief historical background, before skaters were skaters, they were surfers who looked for something to do when the tides are low. Now, skateboarding is an active sport that uses the skateboard and requires physical strength, balance, and coordination. Roller sports, on the other hand, is a general term for referring to those sports that use human power and skill. Skateboarding itself is a type of roller sport. For this thesis, however, skateboarding is mentioned apart as if it's the focus of the study and one with the utmost relevance. In the Philippines, we have around 100,000 skateboarding athletes and enthusiasts. We also have international athletes such as which is Marjorie and Mr. Harry Lange. Skateboarding offers a lot of benefits ranging from physical health benefits, mental health benefits, and even to economic and social benefits. In fact, according to a study, skate parks nurture a more pro-social environment rather than anti-social, being observed teaching and learning from each other, taking turns in obstacles and equipment, and simply hanging out in groups. Here in the Philippines, skaters mostly make use of the available terrain as public spaces as venues for skating. Venues range from parking lots, gas stations, basketball courts, and even streets. While there are skate parks, most skaters do not prefer the use of the existing ones. Here is where the problem comes in. Here is an analytical framework showing social issues and how they manifest into architectural laws, leading to the lack of proper spaces for skateboarding and roller sports. These people preferring the streets and being prohibited. Not only are the streets dangerous for them, but the urban terrain also suffers damage from their boards, as these spaces are not designed to be skated on. Also, despite the presence of talent and champion potential we saw from Miss Marginalidad, athletes still have to train abroad, which is only a privilege for those who are fortunate enough, or those who can afford it. So this highlights the importance of a skate facility, not only for our national athletes, but also for the youth. Therefore, the proponents face the problems to the offered solutions too: the lack of competition level standards in existing facilities and the lack of opportunities for social interactions in existing skate facilities. Manila Skate Park exhibits a 1,700 square meter area with a 6 feet deep pool. While 6 feet is an average depth, providing a single shallow pool with no variety makes a skate park age fast, being easy to master and quick to board its users. A good balance of difficulty and ease of use shall be considered. The park offers minimal areas for spectators. Mountain Dew Skate Park, on the other hand, features ramps that are even taller than users, which makes it favorable for some experienced enthusiasts, and also has places for beginners. However, the location of the park itself, in context with the site, which is the Circuit Makati concert grounds, almost hides it from plain sight. It is easy to miss for someone who does not know that there is a nearby skate park, therefore limiting communication with other site features. This can be further proven through some of the survey results collected online. When asked about what they think professional skateboarding facilities have that local ones don't, most of the answers pertain to the lack and substandard design of obstacles in the country. Some also point out the lack of variety of spaces offered by skate parks for users with different skill levels. Also, they have suggestions that are mostly pertaining to the obstacles and specifications that they expect to have in the country, and proper planning and design. Therefore, I present my thesis, Skateboard and Roller Sports Training Facility and Sports Complex, reinforcing skateboarding and roller sports through the application of social architecture and architectural psychology. The main goal is to provide a place for playing, training, and socialization for Philippine skateboarding and roller sports enthusiasts. Here is a theoretical framework showing cases which should be studied in order to attain the objectives set through our social architecture and architectural psychology. Architectural psychology studies how users interact with the built environment. Skaters interact in a very peculiar way with space beyond their intended purpose. In order to understand skateboarding and how its components have evolved, it is important to understand its history. Skateboarders were once surfers who looked for something to do while the tides are low. What Californian skateboarders were primarily looking for back then was the bodily experience of aquatic space translated to the surfing board. This is when the first skateboards were created, and skaters were asphalt surfers surfed through the gentle banks of schoolyards as if carving the surface of waves. This is also when they first skated through pools or what is known today as bowls. Then they skated the urban and suburban terrain. The terrain was reconceived as another type of space, concrete wheels. This is where skateboarding became its own self, its own sport with its own nature. When spaces were finally designed and appropriated for their purpose, skateboarding components have therefore evolved from forms inspired by nature. It is nature that became architecture that has become the nature of the sport. Third, the proponent gives the fundamentals of skateboarding to understand how they intersect obstacles. While tricks and maneuvers are limitless and unpredictable, it is important to note that the momentum build-up and transition to and from doing tricks can be mapped generally. This also applies in mapping skate routes and skate parks. Generally, movements can be mapped. Apart from understanding the moves and forms and their evolution, the proponent must also understand the basic considerations in designing skate facilities. There are a few different kinds of boards which differ according to usage. There are also two classifications of skateboarding forms. These are transitional forms and speed forms. Transitional forms originate from pipes and bowls. These are forms that allow transition from a high point to a flat bottom and vice versa. These are the forms that are closer to the asphalt surfing experience. Street forms are forms translated from built elements found in urban and suburban settings. These shapes are more vertical or rectilinear in character and are of course made of materials more suitable for skateboarding. There are other considerations when designing skateboarding facilities. These qualities influence the variety and difficulty of skate components to allow creativity and a larger range of use. Also, this allows safety of movement and from one place to another and avoiding collision of both skaters and non-skaters. The history of the evolution of the act of skateboarding and the evolution of skaters intended for it can be expressed in a parallel manner. Therefore, it is safe to say that skateboarding forms and tricks have evolved relative to each other. New moves gave birth to new forms, and new forms gave birth to new moves, and the cycle went on. Therefore, skateboard architecture, is actually an architecture that comes directly from the movement or the activity of its users. It is genetic in a sense that it comes internally from a human being, the way they occupy space. Social architecture studies how users interact with each other in a built environment. Studies show that the skate park nurtures a more social atmosphere. However, that atmosphere remains between skaters and commonly excludes non-skaters. The proponent, through social architecture, aims to enhance the interactions within the facility. Survey shows the range of users that a skate facility might have. However, users are better classified according to their skill levels more than their age group. This is due to the fact that a 14-year-old experienced skater may be able to perform a trick on a 12-foot vertical, while a 30-year-old beginner may need to start practicing on smaller 10-foot quarter pipe in order to learn. One of my foreign case studies, Oslo Skate Hall in Norway, shows a facade that is inspired by skateboarding itself. Also, it allows 50 skaters at most to use different areas simultaneously, as multiple variations or different skill levels adjacent to each other. The glass in the facade also allows the indoor skate area to communicate with the outdoor skate park. The facility also exhibits neutral spaces such as viewing decks and the coffee shop, which are without the boundaries of differences in sport disciplines and the lack thereof, and skill levels. The site will be located in the city of Antipolo, as the City Planning and Development Office of Antipolo need to support and manage the project upon proposal. Also, the Antipolo is also known as a hotspot for skateboarding activities, especially downhill skateboarding. This may be due to the terrain that naturally attracts skaters, much like the sea attracts surfers. The project aligns with their comprehensive development plan, which aims to make the area around the lot the future location for the planned city government complex. The site is surrounded in a 3-kilometer radius by establishments that include production, education, religious, and commercial areas. It is also worth noting that there is a nearby annex of the Antipolo Hospital system and a few extreme sports recreational facilities around, which makes the project relevant to the character of the place around it. The site is accessible through Marilake Highway, being bounded by the National Road on its two northern sides and other government-owned lots on its southern sides. The site is elevated from the road, with the surface runoff being in its southern corner. The site currently is full of existing vegetation, with a few dwellers present which may be relocated. It is facing the road on its northern side, which means that the open areas in front of the building facade will experience a cooler atmosphere than the back of the building itself. A percentage of the site's perimeter is surrounded by walls, possibly to prevent erosion. For the SWOT analysis, the site showed strength in its location, size, and amount of land packed, allowing future alterations and more spaces, both indoor and outdoor, to be built. Its weakness, however, also involves the topography, as it will be challenging to support and prevent the amount of pan from passing down. There are opportunities for better emergency response as there is a nearby hospital. Recreational facilities nearby also add up to the character of the place. There is also public transportation present around the area. Threats is the location being far from Metro Manila. Even though the site has public transport going through, most visitors and athletes can be expected to come in their private vehicles. Here's a SWOT matrix showing how these factors may affect each other for the betterment of the project. The space program is derived from the organizational chart of the Philippine Sports Commission and based on the admin and managerial staff of establishments such as Marikina Sports Center and Quiz Sports Complex. There will be a total of 129 admin staff to operate the development. Other staff requirements will be events-based. The proposed development has a total gross floor area of 19,448.76 square meters. The project will be catering the following disciplines: that of the focus sport, which is skateboarding, and general spaces for the practice of inline sports disciplines, which we do not yet participate on, and other roller sports such as scootering, BMXing, and slalom. The site construction will mostly be using concrete as it is the most efficient material for skateboarding spaces and for the indoor skate training facility. The use of wood to be flexible for future alteration as skateboarding is an ever-evolving sport. The use of glass to encourage communication between indoors and outdoors and eco-friendly alternative support systems. My design philosophy is derived from that of Oscar Niemeyer, which talks about architecture as inspired by the lines of nature. My version is a nature that is defined by both the architect and the user, which brings me to the design concept. To design an athletic environment for uncustomary sports to provide Philippine skateboard and roller sports athletes and enthusiasts a place to train, play, and socialize, and to attain social inclusion through skateboard architecture. Skateboard architecture is also the form concept of the building, as derived from the original nature of the sport, concrete waves. The style guiding principle is contemporary architecture, which allows freedom in free-flowing forms, appropriate for an active sports facility that emanates nature and the sense of movement. The project will be funded by the City Government of Antipolo, Philippine Sports Commission, and Skateboarding and Roller Sports Association of the Philippines. The site development plan features a road system providing access all around the lot in case of emergencies or injuries, which may happen anywhere around the facility. Also, the spaces are zoned according to user skills with respect to non-skaters. The site also exhibits a jogging path and a bike lane, and shall utilize skatable and non-skatable surfaces to be able to set boundaries without hindering interactions and maximize spectator viewing. Freestyle area and public park shall also be hybridized to allow participation between skaters and non-skaters and encourage social interactions. That ends my presentation. Thank you so much.